Sometimes we may want to change something so badly that just this desire by itself can become the main obstacle for the change to happen. We can see it sometimes in some external circumstances when we don't like something so much that we don't want to accept it and we're fighting with it, or we sometimes can't even find ways to change it. It feels like it's impossible. Or in some situation we're taking action, we're doing something, but looks like it's not working again and again, and it's not changing. And we still have this very strong desire to change it. And the same can happen not only with the circumstances, but also with your emotions, with your feelings, what you experience inside. It can happen when you're scared about something, but you don't want to feel the fear, or you're angry, but you don't want to experience this anger, or you're sad, or you feel guilty, you noticed it, and you want to do anything possible just not to have to deal with this experience because it's too unpleasant, it gives you some discomfort, and you want to experience something more nice, more pleasant. And in this situation you can start fighting with your own emotions in different ways. Different people choose different ways. You can just start doing something else to distract yourself. You can just convince yourself that you don't really feel it, or you suppress it in different ways. You don't give it attention, and you do everything possible just not to feel it. And maybe you can do it for some times, and maybe it's working for you for some times, but in the long run, no, you see that it's still somewhere there, or you have some other problems that are a result of this. You may become more stressed, you can feel that you don't have energy to do everything you want to do, or you become so easily triggered by some small situation that you just can't control yourself sometimes. And that's where the letting go technique can help. Several months ago, I read the book of David Hawkins, where he describes his letting go technique, and I was practicing it for some time, and now I started reading the book again. And I want to share with you how it helps me, what are my results, what I've noticed, and give you some tips about how you can use it in your life, so you can also have some great results. In the period when I started to read the book, I remember that for me it was difficult to accept and to process the feeling of apathy. This was the moments that I didn't really wanted to do anything, and didn't have any strong impulses or some desires that were maybe motivating me. And I didn't like to be in the state, and I had the idea that I need to do something to get rid of this as quickly as possible. So I didn't notice that apathy is also kind of emotion. It's not something that you can fight easily. You can try, you can use some willpower, you can do something, but then you can feel also tired, and then you come in this state again. It's actually apathy. It's quite a big topic, and there could be many reasons why you experience it. But I noticed that if I treat this as any other emotion, like fear or anger or anything else, it also has its end. Because all our emotions work in the same way. When they come in, they growing, kind of accumulating energy, growing. They have their peak moment, and they slowly go down, unless we're fighting with them or we're feeding them with some obsessive thinking patterns. You can see it very good with anxiety. It can be emotion that you experience in your body quite strongly, and it can go away. But if you continue to feed it with your thoughts, with your worries, what if this, what if that, what I will do then, and imagine in all worst possible scenarios, you will continue to create this emotion. I was talking about this quite a lot in my other video about processing negative emotions. You can look at also there. But yeah, the idea was that I took from the book at the moment to treat apathy also as an emotion. And for example, if I just don't want to do anything and I feel down and it just feels like tired, no reason to get up, no reason to do anything, I should not create some ideas or beliefs about myself, what's wrong with me, what I should do with this. No, I should just feel it and let it be for some time and let myself experience it. It's kind of allowing yourself to be in the state. And I noticed after a few times that I tried, it was just going away. And it was surprisingly quickly. I was fighting with it for quite a long time before, but it was difficult, it was not going away. Sometimes I was more successful, sometimes less, but nothing was helping as good as just allowing myself to feel it. Stop fighting, stop judging. The main thing also here is stop judging. And that's how the technique actually works. You observe your feeling and you focus on all the sensations, not on your thoughts about it, not on the ideas. And you consciously decide not to look for a solution to get rid of it. You just accept the moment as it is. And when you accept the moment as it is, and when you let yourself to feel the feeling, it will go away. It can come back easily, because usually the feelings that we can't process for a long time, it's something that have accumulated for years, and once you start processing them a bit by bit every time, slowly they go away. The first thing you can notice quite quickly, the change, I don't know, in 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, it's very different. And in the book you can read a lot about each emotions and all the examples and all the also studies behind this idea about this technique. I can't tell everything in one video. I wanted to tell more about my experience and some useful tips. So that was one of the experiences. It was not only apathy. I was quite successful also to use it for the fear and also for the anger. Also for the guilt, for the shame, all these negative emotions. Sometimes we don't even know that we have them unless we start being more honest with ourselves. And I mentioned about emotions that we have accumulated from the past, and I know that this letting go technique and processing the emotion is working really well. Also, because of my past experience. And I was making one video when I was reviewing a Murray method book, how I was using this method that is created for healing the childhood traumas. And actually one of the parts of the method is kind of relieve again the negative, difficult feelings that you are not able to process when you were a child. And it's normal, because as a child we still don't have enough of experience and some other coping mechanism and these resources and this consciousness that can help to process the difficult emotions as we can do now as an adult. So why I'm saying that it's working well, because when I was doing this inner work on this childhood traumas, afterwards I had quite major changes in my life. I could solve one of the long-term repeated problem and also achieve later some other goals that I couldn't for some time. So I saw that it's working. And the big part of this was actually letting myself feel all the feeling. A lot of the emotional pain that I couldn't handle when I was a child, I could handle when I was an adult. And because I had the resources, I had the knowledge, I had the experience. So when these feelings were coming, I was just staying with them. I was not judging, I was not trying to change them, I was not trying to solve them. And slowly, I think it took me about a few weeks to release quite a big chunk of the past. And I've got very good results in my life. It was very noticeable results, something that changed, and the problems that I was dealing before for years, they didn't come back again to me. So that's one of the examples how this can work. Also in therapy, there are many things that therapists are doing to help their clients, but one of them is also about honestly facing your deep negative feelings, emotions, and be strong enough and brave enough to face them, to have resources to be with them, and to then to let them go. And so the result that I noticed after I was reading the book and after I was using this technique in the last several months, there were several results. The one that I can have some kind of quick help in some specific situation when I start experiencing some strong emotion, and I use the technique to process it, and usually it works, not always quickly, but in some cases actually very quickly. In some cases it takes longer, but I see that it's working. And I noticed that it also gives long-term results. Like when I do the technique for several days, 2 weeks or so, I start feeling differently. I can see that I have more energy, more ideas, what I want to do, when I see how much I can do and actually doing it, and I'm feeling better, and the mood is different, the energy is different, and the results are different. So yeah, I'm quite sure that it's working. Not only by what's happening now, but also when I remembered what was going on in my past, and I compared some different periods, what I was doing. And even I used a lot of different methods in all these years for solving problems, for self-development, for all my inner transformation, and also like other changes. I used a lot of different things, but I still see that working with emotions, with the feelings, accepting and giving it time, space, and kind of allowing yourself to experience what it is now. This was always helpful. That's why I'm recommending to read the book and to use the technique. And some tips that I wanted to mention. Even the book is called Letting Go. The technique is called Letting Go. When we speak about emotions and feelings, it's not just about letting them go. We're more focusing on letting go our maybe expectations about how things should be, our strong attachments to something, to some ideas, to some beliefs. And for the feelings, it's more about allowing them to be, accepting them, letting them be here and now, and let yourself to be in the state that you are here and now, without denying, without fighting, and without judging. And I want to kind of bring your attention on this judging part, because that's sometimes one of the biggest obstacles. We can't accept something, we can't process it, we can't let it go because of our strong judgments and ideas about how should it be, that we should feel different, we should think different, we should do something different. So all these ideas about the kind of comparison about what is here and now in the reality and what you think should be happening, what you should feel or do differently, these ideas create this inner conflict and create this resistance and this kind of fight with yourself or with the world that already by itself is the obstacle for a change, the obstacle to feel better. That's why removing this judgment, removing these expectations, and this attachment to your ideas and beliefs about how things should be, learning to accept what it is here and now in your life, what is really happening, what you're feeling, learning to let go, learning to process your emotions, learning to be maybe more also kind with yourself, and to have less conflict, to have less fight. It's already quite a big step that once you implement this in your life, you can start seeing changes very quickly, some small changes quickly, some bigger changes a bit later, if you continue to practice it. Of course, that's not the only technique, not the only thing that you can do for for your self-development, for the changes that you want to have in your life. There are a lot more, and if you're the one who is interested in it, the person who understands that their mindset, their state is one of the main reasons of what they have in their life, or what they can achieve, what they creating and attracting, then you can subscribe to my channel. I have much more videos on these topics and quite a lot about transformational coaching, how it can help you to create the changes that you want, tips for motivation, tips for journaling, for self-development, videos about self-love, about forgiving yourself and others, and video reviews on some books that I found interesting and helpful that you can watch. And if you have any questions, you can leave me a comment below and click the bell to get notification about my new videos.